Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Thanks again for joining me. Today we're going to be talking all about printing. That's right, this is the long-awaited printing video that I've been talking about in the past 2 vlogs or so, and we are finally here. Apologies for it taking this long to be posted, but it is going to be well worth the wait, I assure you. I've been waiting on a couple of prints to come back. One from the framing shop, one is from an order that I made online through Whitewall, and I cannot wait to show you guys both of those as they do not disappoint. The results are amazing, and I want to share with you guys everything that I've learned that helped me get those incredible print results. We're going through some small prints that I have over here in a folder, a photo book, things that I've already gotten framed, and basically walk you guys through all the details of printing, all the important things that are very easy to overlook. A lot of people might think it's just as easy as going hit file, print on your computer, right? And that's it. While you certainly can do that, you might not get the best results. So over the past couple of months, pretty much the whole of 2023, I've been doing a lot of research and a lot of learning very quickly about printing, and I want to share all that with you guys as I go from basically a novice / beginner on my journey to becoming a professional as quickly as I possibly can. So again, a lot of information that I've learned over several months that hopefully you guys will be able to pick up on here in a very short period of time. If you guys like this type of video, please hit the thumbs up button. And if you are new here as well, please consider subscribing. It does help out a lot, and I can't thank you guys enough. So with all that being said, let's hop into the video. Right, so in my hands here, I have a stack of my prints, all of these, most of these of which are currently available for sale on my website. These are all in 8x12, which is currently the smallest size that I offer. And these were all printed from an online lab called Bay Photo Lab, based in the United States in California. Another lab that I use is Whitewall Lab. I think they also do an incredible job. But the reason why I don't use them for my online orders, since I don't have my own professional large format printer yet, is because they are closer. I live in New York, so things take less time to ship from California to New York than things shipping from Germany to New York do. So that's why I ended up choosing Bay Photo. Bay Photo is also a little bit cheaper, especially saving on shipping and things like that. But yeah, we're going to quickly run through these. These, again, are all 8x12. These are all currently available on my website. And each photo is currently in these plastic little bags that have these little adhesive things that you can open and close. And I like to keep all of these in here just because it keeps dust off of them, prevents them from getting smudged or scratched, especially if they're not sitting in a frame or a drawer, right, where they're going to be, out of dusty environments, etc., right? Because this type of paper, which is the Hanamuli photo rag paper, dust can stick to it pretty easily and can show up pretty easily just by nature of the paper. It's not super slick like a glossy paper. It's a very textured, very clean, matte paper. So I like to keep them in these things that Bay Photo sends them in, just because it helps keep them clean until you put them behind a frame. So the first one we have here is the Lake's Grasp. These are all printed with a 1/2-inch border. At least they should be printed with a 1/2-inch border. Some of these I actually mistakenly ordered with a 1/4-inch border. But anytime you guys get a print from me, they will have a 1/2-inch white borders. I think they look the best. And also talk about another reason why I use Bay Photo is because they ship their prints in standard size. What I mean by that is if I order a print 8x12, the dimension of the paper is going to be 8x12. So if my customer buys a print, they don't have to have it custom framed to fit the paper. They could just go online and order any 8x12 frame and it'll fit, or go to a department store and buy any 8x12 frame and it'll fit. Whereas Whitewall, they do offer perfect fit photos and you can get the white borders around them, but the external dimensions will be, like 8.7 by 12 point something, right? So that's not going to fit any standard frame, which will mean that the customer will need to get it custom framed, which some people might not want to go through that particular step. So I use Bay Photo for the time being, just because they do offer, standard sizes, which means you will have to do some cropping, but they do offer custom sizes for some bigger photos, which I do currently use because they won't fit any standard size, so they're going to need custom framing regardless. But for the smaller stuff, the photos that I don't crop, that are still, in a 16:9 format, they'll fit pretty much any standard size I need them to, like these ones here. So yeah, Lake's Grasp 8x12 looks very, very clean. Here we have the sunset silhouette. Again, this is one I mistakenly ordered in the 1/4 inch border. Still looks okay, although I definitely prefer the 1/2 inch border. I like just the more bigger white frame around the edges. And here we have the photo I titled Solitude, looking very, very nice as well. Next up, we have the Seaway Fire from Lake Erie Vistas Volume 1, much like the other past photos I've showed you guys. Then here we have more first edition collection stuff. We have Oasis, and we have Radiant Shores. As you can see, I think I might have shown a couple of these on the channel before. And then these are 2 other prints that I ordered after going to Chestnut Ridge to photograph the Eternal Flame. These are some shots that I really liked. Some of the shots I started taking right when I got back into photography again. So I wanted to print them out to see how they would look, especially with the more muted natural colors here, like that we have in the woods. Along this beautiful stream, post blizzard of 2022. And here we have the Eternal Flame itself, which also looks very, very nice. Now, one other thing I want to point out is you might see the signature here down in the bottom right on both of these. These are just digital signatures that I use when I post the photos online. It's kind of like a watermark. These should not be there. I would not recommend you guys printing photos with custom signatures done in the bottom left, unless you really want to. I guess it's up to you. I would prefer to sign them by hand with a pencil and the white border of the photo, like I've done with Seaway Fire here. And if you guys ever order a print from me, they will be hand signed in the bottom right and hand titled in the bottom left as well. I just use a very dull point pencil as to not leave any indents into the paper. Because another thing with this paper, this Hanamealy photo rag as well, is it's very fragile paper. It's very delicate. It will bend easily. It can smudge easily. It can smear easily. It's just the nature of it being a photo rag paper based on of cotton rags. So it is very fragile. So do be careful with it if it's not in a frame. That's why I've again opted to keep them in these little bags, I guess. So we'll go ahead and pop one of these out of one of these little bags just to show you guys. And I guess I'll just show one of the photos that I don't think I've really shown on this channel. I think you guys have pretty much seen all the other stuff on my websites before, or I might have shown them in past videos. So we're going to go ahead and pull this one out here. So this photo here is titled Woodland Thaw. And again, one pro I find of the matte paper is that there are no glares on this type of paper that you would get on a very glossy or even sometimes a semi-gloss paper. And it makes it really, really nice to just view outside of a frame because you can really just look at all the details, again, unobstructed by any glares. And the slight texturing this paper has as well helps to, I feel like, give the photo in some places a little bit more texture, a little bit more detail than you would get, again, on more smoother gloss, semi-gloss papers. And it being a matte paper that does absorb a decent amount of ink from what I've heard using these really cotton-based, rag-based papers, I feel like you get a much more neutral color. And again, the color and everything will tie into ICC Profiles, which we'll get into later, but right now I just want to go over some of the prints that I have and kind of show them off to you guys. So let's go ahead and zoom in here on this. And I mean, this photo is not a perfect photo, I will say. I just wanted to kind of print this out for my own, collection, right? But you can see the detail is just really, really, really good. I just like the detail is just so nice. I've actually taken a magnifying glass to this, and being able to look at a photo printed out versus on a phone screen or a monitor is just a completely different story. But I think the color reproduction is there. Very, very solid, very, very accurate, and very, very happy with this. I would definitely recommend Bayphoto to anybody who wants their stuff printed out and they want it printed professionally. I mean, even just the stuff in the fog back there, the mist, still looks very, very accurate to how it did out of Photoshop. And again, nothing weird, just a very, very solid looking image. Things do look a little soft down here in this corner, only because I didn't focus stack this, which was, you know, an error made in camera. Nothing we can really do about it now, but, you know, once you get into the proper depth of field out there, things do look very, very sharp with the lens and the settings that I was using. So those are those prints. Now I'm going to show you guys a little bit of a different format for prints that you can do instead of just printing them out like I have here individually. There's something you can get called a Photobook, and tons of different websites offer these, and it's a great option to put your prints in if you want to put them all in one place, as something to put on a coffee table, a desk for people to check out and look at, or to give to potential customers or clients, something they can look through all at once and without having to sort through a huge stack like this, right? Mainly I use this stuff for product photos for my website because I like to have physical pictures of the prints available at any given point for potential customers to look at. But again, if you want to be able to show friends or family or, again, potential clients something all at once in a nice, presentable way, a photo book is a great way to do that, and we'll take a look at that next. All right, so here is my photo book. As you can see, it's titled Landscape Photography by Mike English from 2018 to 2023. I plan to get more of these photo books made and date them based on each year, right? So I can go back and look at all of my favorite, my best photos that I took in any given year. Now, this is not from Whitewall or Bay Photo Lab. This is from Saal Digital, S-A-A-L Digital. And it's a company that I've gotten advertisements online for before, where they give you a really great offer. I think it was like if you sign up with the email, you get a $150 coupon, which was a great deal. So this photo book I got here was, I think, around $195 with a $150 coupon. It ended up being just under $50 for an incredibly high quality photo book. And again, my decision to purchase this was made more clear after I saw Nigel Danson, another influential photographer that I follow, did a sponsored video for them as well, and they were just showing off how great these photo books were and the praise he was giving to them for their color reproduction and their print quality. And I went ahead and ordered one for myself, and I am very, very impressed. It's always a great thing to show to friends and family because it's got a lot of great work in here, and it's very, very easy to present. And this one has an acrylic cover with one of my photos here on the front. And you can very easily format this to however you like. It's so easy to put together. Again, this is not a sponsored video for Saal Digital by any means, but they do great work. So we'll go ahead and zoom in just a little bit here. Some of these photos I don't typically have titles for yet, and these are on their lay flat pages, and I like to wear gloves when I touch this just so don't get a lot of fingerprints, especially on the acrylic cover. So yeah, this one I don't think I have a title for specifically. If I do, I've forgotten it. But yeah, this is Letchworth State Park, and I'll slide this over here so you guys can see more Letchworth State Park photos, which is a place I go to a lot. And there's another one. I believe this one is titled Incandescence, and rightfully so. Again, like the color reproduction on these was really, really solid, and I didn't really do any ICC profiles with these either, which is pretty impressive. Their print quality is just that good. I didn't need to do any tweaking to these images to getting them to come out to look like exactly how they look on a phone screen or monitor. I think that one was Seasons Clash there. And this one is another Evangola State Park photo. I think this one is titled Mountains of Ice. Very cool ice volcanoes on the shore. The Lake's Grasp. Again, a lot of photos in here. Might already be photos that you guys have seen, like, again, Seaway Fire. And this is a really unique photo. Nothing super special, but this is called Wind and Weathering. Very nice long exposure shot, as you can tell by those beautiful clouds there. And we'll go to the next page. Yeah, so here is Golden Hour, and this is printed, edge to edge, as you can see, and it just looks fantastic. Again, looks very, very, very good. Another photo there. Very kind of fine art shot of a very foggy morning on Lake Erie. Very, I think, similar location to Seaway Fire, almost exactly the same location. And here, this is a across the page pano. So we have Oasis down here at the end, and then we have a huge across the page panel. Here is the centerfold of the book, and it goes all the way across. I think this was like a 70 megapixel panorama, and I mean, if I can zoom in a little bit more here, I will. But like the detail is just very, very good. Just looking at it here with my own eyes, I am very, very impressed with the quality and the colors. And yeah, I like it quite a bit. Zoom out a little bit here. And then here were those other two photos that I just showed you guys. The Flaming Eternity and the Woodland Thaw. And then here are some photos from my Taganic Falls trip. And moving on, more Taganic Falls, Niagara Falls over here. Radiant Shores, more Letchworth State Park. And some more photos that you guys probably haven't seen before. I think this is... I forget what this photo is titled. I might not even have a title for it. But then we have this one here. This is Skyclaw, again, printed edge to edge. The photos look absolutely incredible done that way. It's a very, very unique look. And again, on the next page, more edge to edge photos. And this is also another panorama titled Sanctuary from the Eternal Flame Falls. And the very last couple pages here, we have the ice volcano at Letchworth at sunrise, and another Letchworth cloud inversion sunrise as well. So there's that photo book. Really, really happy with this and how it came out. I would highly recommend Saal Digital for photo books. There's what the back looks like. It's this kind of a simulated wood grain fabric. Looks very, very nice. Very, very high quality. Very professional looking. And now we're going to go ahead and take a look at some of the other photos that I have done that have already been framed and printed out really big. And then right here up on this beautiful frame, which I had done locally from a local framing shop in my area called Picture Your Walls. This is Serenity that was printed in 12 by 22 from Bay Photo Lab. And as you can see, it looks absolutely incredible with the white matte and the simple black frame with the slate wood grain design inlaid into it. Very, very happy with this. And now I'm just going to go ahead and show you guys some close-up video of how beautiful the paper looks and the detail within. And how this photo could have even looked a lot more detailed had I tweaked some export settings in Photoshop as well. Same thing can be said about the next photo we're going to look at after this one. And right here, as you guys can see behind me up on the wall, is my photo relic, which we actually took at Cattaraugus Creek Harbor, which I talked about in the last vlog. And as you guys can see right here, that photo, that panoramic photo we took of this beautiful piece of driftwood has been printed up really, really big and pre-framed and shipped directly to our house thanks to White Wall Lab, and it looks absolutely incredible. I tried something a little bit different this time around with the paper. I still went with Hahnemühle paper, but I didn't use the photo rag this time around. I ended up using the fine art pearl paper because the ICC profile looked really good on this particular photo compared to that of the photo rag. So I took a chance on it, and I'm really glad I did. It has almost more of a semi-gloss look. It's still really muted in terms of the gloss on the photo. It still has a lot of that really nice texture, but the colors match, I want to say, literally 100%, and the detail is just otherworldly. The dimensions on this frame, I believe, are 45.6 inches by 30.9 inches, I want to say. Absolutely huge photo. Like, I'll put a picture up on the screen of me standing next to the photo when we took it out of the package. You can see just how big it is. We got a light above it there to help illuminate it, and there's also a lamp just behind me here that also helps to illuminate it as well. Another thing, when you get any photos printed, you get them printed big, it's best to put them in a place Maybe a place that's not direct sunlight, because that can have its own issues with damaging the paper and the inks over many, many years. So keep in mind it's positioned to direct sunlight when you are hanging up the photo. But also keep in mind you want it in a space that's well lit, because looking at photos on print versus a screen where they're backlit, they're going to tend to look a lot darker. So buying either a light to hang above them to illuminate them, or in a room with a lot of lighting overhead, is going to really help to make the photo look 1,000 times better when it is properly illuminated, because when it's in a not very well lit space, it'll just look very, very dark. So we do have some lights, and we're going to be getting some better lights to put over this as we remodel the whole room here. But it looks absolutely fantastic. It's an amazing centerpiece for this room, and very eager to get more photos pre-framed from Whitewall in the future. Okay, so now that I've gone ahead and shown you guys all of the prints that I currently have, one thing I want to do now is how do we get these prints, right? How do we get them from our computer, from Photoshop, from Lightroom, onto the page? So that is what we're going to talk about here. And I'm going to show you guys one photo in particular taken at Gallagher Pier, which I do have a vlog from that location where I got Serenity from. And this photo was a panoramic image, and it was a huge photo. I mean, when the whole photo was said and done, fully edited and everything, exported, it was 111 megapixels, 19,000 some odd pixels by 5,000 some odd pixels. A wide and very detailed photo. And I encountered an interesting problem when trying to export it, and that led me to discover how to properly export photos for higher quality prints. So let's take a look at that right now in Photoshop. All right, so here we are in Photoshop with the photo I was just talking to you guys about, titled Gloom. As you can see, this is a very, very wide photo. It was a 7 or 8 image pano, and as you can see down here by the dimensions, 19,000 some odd pixels by 5,000 some odd pixels at 240 ppi. This is a huge, huge photo. And what I've been doing in the past when I export my photos is going up here, hitting File, Export, Export As. And this has, again, been the standard procedure for exporting photos. The entire time I've pretty much been using Photoshop since like 2018 or so, right? And there was a bit of an interesting and unique problem that I was experiencing, and this kind of led me to learn how to better export photos for print. And mainly because you get a higher PPI or DPI output than you are capable of getting when you export just via the Export As feature. And if you look at the window that has just popped up, you can see the problem that I was experiencing. And that problem is the Export As feature has a limit, apparently, as to how big you can export as. As you can see, the original dimensions are over here, 19,965 by 5,574. And here it's telling me I can only export at 75%. There's a little, error message here saying the image's initial dimensions exceed the maximum allowed pixels and have been downscaled. So I would only be able to export this photo at 75%, roughly 75% of the image's actual resolution, which is obviously not what we want when we have a super detailed photo to begin with. That's why we take a panoramic photo, so we can get super incredible detail. And anytime I've exported photos using that particular method, and if you go into the image and you hit Properties, it brings up this little dialog box here, which tells you the details. And it tells me that the DPI of this photo, the resolution and everything is correct, but the DPI is only 96. So how do we get that full 240 like it has here in Photoshop? Well, apparently the easiest way to do this is very, very simple, thankfully, is you just go up to File and hit Save a Copy, and then you select JPEG, and it exports wherever you want to. Hit baseline standard, set it to 12, and then just hit OK, and there you go. That is how you get the full resolution, full 19,000 by 5,000 at 240 DPI. And I'll show you guys here really quickly. This version of Gloom was exported that way. And as you can see, we have the full resolution. We have that 240 DPI. And I think it might even be at a higher bit depth, which is perfect for printing. The higher DPI, the better. And you can change the PPI or DPI when you are importing from Lightroom. It used to be set at 240. I've increased it to 300, which is going to help us get even higher quality prints. And I'm excited to see what they look like when I print them at 300 dpi. I'm not sure how much of a difference it's going to make. Photo Serenity and that Photo Relic were both printed at 96 dpi, and as you could tell by some of the b-roll that I showed you, they still look incredibly detailed, which is just mind-blowing. I can only imagine the difference, if it is noticeable, the difference of seeing one that is printed at 240 or 300 ppi or dpi and above. It's got to look just that much better. So that is an important little detail, a small little thing that's super, super easy to miss when you're printing your photos and you're exporting your photos, getting them ready to print. Now, another thing I want to show you guys here is talking about, ICC profiles and color profiles. This is something you might have heard of before when you've dealt with printing. It might sound a little daunting, and to be honest, for me, at first it did seem very, very daunting and very, very intimidating when trying to get into the printing space. So I'm really quickly just going to open up the Photoshop document to show you guys a photo, which I don't think I've shown on the channel yet, that really demonstrates ICC profiles and the benefit that they serve. And they're actually pretty simple, right? So this photo here is titled Drifting Spirit, which I photographed at Evangola State Park, and it is just a really amazing photo. Like, I love everything about this. This piece of driftwood, it's just so interesting looking. It's just so unique. And the other day I came back to this exact spot and it was gone. It wasn't super far away. It was pushed back up into a crevasse carved by a seasonal river from a very windy night that we had. But I mean, it just goes to show why the name Drifting Spirit is so fitting, because it just was there one day and then the next day it was gone, and the next big storm we get, who knows where it'll end up next, right? So I think that title is very fitting. But let me show you guys something here. So this is the edit, right? There are some things that I have on, toggled on and off, right? But here you can see I have the gamut correction, which is currently on, and there I have it off. So first, when you get your ICC profiles, and Whitewall Photo Lab, like many other photo labs, will have ICC profiles on their site. If you go to their website, you can find these. If you just type Whitewall Photo Lab ICC in Google, you'll probably get taken right to the download for these. And you can download them from their websites and plug them into Photoshop and Lightroom. And basically, it allows you to, when you go to Photoshop and you go to View, you can go to Proof Setup. And there is a similar thing in Lightroom just called Proof, which you can check at the bottom. And down here, I have imported a few profiles of papers that I like to use. I have an Ilford Black and White, Hahnemühle Photorag, and Hahnemühle Fine Art Pearl. Now, this photo, I would be fine with printing on either of these. And if you check the Photorag, it's now basically simulating how everything is going to change, and the colors and luminosity is going to change when you have it printed in that particular paper. And you can change it, right, to Fine Art Pearl, and you can see the subtle differences, right? You have to decide which one you like better, or maybe, right, it's you don't like how either of them look, right, and you want to get a different paper, right? But then there's an interesting thing here. We have gamut warning. So when you highlight gamut warning, if I zoom in here, you can see on the horizon, and I think it's Control-Shift-Y, it's just the toggle for the gamut warning. So as you can see out there, when I toggle the gamut warning, there's that gray patch. What does that mean? It means that on this paper, in Whitewall's printers, that printer, the paper, some combination that is not able to reproduce that color 100%. It will come out looking slightly different. And the easiest way to fix that is by opening up a hue saturation layer. And I think I went into the reds, and I basically used the dropper to select that color, and I went in there and dropped the saturation by 12. And as you can see, there's with the gamut correction, there's without it. It's a very, very subtle difference, and I just masked it out everywhere where I didn't want it. So if I turn the gamut warning back on without the gamut correction layer, you can see there it is. If I toggle it on, you can see it goes away completely. And you just basically look through the rest of your photo to see if there are any other big glaring areas where you're having gamut issues. And that'll give you a much more faithful reproduction on print. And yeah, so now I know when I print this on Hahnemühle Photorag, with my monitors calibrated as the best it could possibly be, the colors are going to be pretty much just how I see them on the screen. And I'll get pretty much colors that the printer is able to properly reproduce, which is very, very important, again, for color reproduction and getting everything to match how you want it, right? You want to print it out exactly how it looks on the screen. Very, very easy thing to do. So that's ICC Profiles, and that is gamut warning, and that is export settings. I think those are 3 main things to talk about. 3 main things to kind of learn right when you're getting into printing that are already going to put you ahead in terms of getting better quality prints. And a couple websites that I like are Bay Photo Lab, Saal Digital, and Whitewall Lab. They do amazing work for printing. Especially if you don't have a large format printer available in your own home, like the Canon Pro ImageGraph or Image Pro Graph 1000, which is a printer I was looking into getting, but it is very expensive. It's almost like a $1,500 to $1,600 printer, not mentioning $700 inks, and then the papers that you'd have to buy along with them are very expensive as well. And now for somebody who sells more and more photos maybe than I do, right? Somebody who's just getting into this, it makes sense to buy a printer like that, but for me, not yet. So these are the options I have to work with as somebody who is a more novice, more beginner, etc., etc. So yeah, that is printing. If you guys have any questions of anything that I didn't cover 100% that I may have missed, I'll try to add it in somewhere else in the video. But again, if I missed it completely, drop a comment down below, any questions you guys might have. And again, consider checking out my website where you guys can purchase some of the prints that you've seen me go over in this video for yourself, for a friend or family member. They do make great gifts. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you being here, and I'll see you guys around in the next video.